What's up, everybody? I think this thing's turning on. We're on here. What's going on? We have hopefully a bunch of work to go through tonight. I want to spend time going through a lot more of that DD library that we took a peek at a little bit last time that I had no idea was a thing, but super stoked that it is. So we're going to poke through there and hopefully learn some more about GameStop, the stock, the background, the story, all of that great stuff. I was actually just texting with Peruvian Bull. So he and we're going to create some more content together in a little bit. Actually, pretty stoked. He's starting to build out and like get a little bit more into live streaming and stuff, which would be really, really cool. I like learning about his perspectives and whatnot. So what's up, apes? Great to see everybody. Also great to see the outliers and the outlier apes. Really, whatever you consider yourself is cool here. We don't really care. Everybody is welcome. Let me grab a few Reddits. We need to grab GameStop. We need to grab Super Stonk. I think those are the main ones, right? For GameStop Reddits, is that correct? I think so. Yeah. And we got to grab our map as well. You already know that. Cool. So I think we literally have everything. We're ready to go. First things first, you already know what's up. I need to know where you're from if you haven't told us yet. So our map is filling out. There was somebody on one of the other live streams that was a little salty that I spend time in the beginning of the live streams just kind of bullshitting and doing this map thing. But I told them that I actually don't really give a fuck about their opinion, and I have fun looking at the map with you guys. One of the really cool things about this, for me at least, is how crazy is it that there is an individual stock that connects people like this? I don't know of many other stocks that do this. Sure, you could say something like Apple or Amazon, but it's different, right? Like people that are buying Apple or Amazon, they're not buying it because, oh, we just love Apple as a company. No, we think Apple is revolutionizing technology and growing, which is one of the neatest things about it, I think. So the fact is, like right now, for literally everybody on the stream, there's people from all these different places that have been on this stream. And I emphasize this stream because it's not like I have a big YouTube channel or anything. So the fact that there's this many people from all these different places from this smaller corner of the world, I think is really cool. Mexican boys from California. Mexican boy, don't you lie to me. That name's pretty clear where you're from. I'm just saying, like I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. You're trying to tell me California. I'm trying to tell you based on your name, I'm not buying it. I'm not fucking buying it. Maybe let's go. So if you're in California, you're probably somewhere super far south or LA based on your name. And my guess is, well, let's see. We have to get a fact check here. So Mexican boy, where in Mexico are you from originally? We got Maui. I don't know if we have Maui on the list already. I think we have Hawaii. Yeah, so we have Honolulu. We need to add Maui. That's a cool ad. And then I guess one time I have to stream when we're in Kauai so that we can cross Kauai off the list. Because technically, my wife, she's not from Kauai, but she kind of grew up there. So she went to like school and stuff in Kauai. So, I mean, that's pretty close. I would give her credit for it. Mexican boy says Monterey County. Oh, I see. All right. Khalid Nolly says, actually, someone named Outlier asked me about that on Discord, but oh, is this part of something else? But I wasn't sure if it was a bot. No, it wasn't. So for anybody ever for those that don't know, there is a free part to the Discord, and then there's the part for the Patreon people, but the Discord is free literally for everybody to join. But I want to emphasize a specific element of it, which is this. For literally anybody that finds their way into the Discord, when you go to start here, I want you to read this very first part at the very tippity top. We do not DM anybody. It is such an important note. None of us DM anybody. The reason for that is because the scam on Discord is actually really, really informed. What they do is they leave people in the Discord so that the person in the Discord isn't the one that's actively reaching out. And they feed the names to other people because we have it set up that unless you're verified, you can't see everybody else, which is kind of part of how I set up the partitioning system. So yeah, the punchline is don't get scammed. That would be great. And I say that because I started doing the whole YouTube thing and building the community and all this stuff to help people. And it's just super frustrating to me that some people are getting ripped off by some bots. Straight piss me off. So Khalid says, gotcha, dude, had your link. Oh yeah, they copy everything. Yeah, so what they do is they literally copy the entire profile to make it obviously look like it's me. That's their goal. One of the things that you can do, Khalid, out of curiosity, is if you go to their profile and you look at when it was created, and then if you look at the way that it's actually spelled, there's going to be errors of some sort, obviously, because it's not me. So they'll have small errors in there, but they're super smart. They do stuff. That's one of the reasons why I switched from ES Invests, because it was too easy to confuse uppercase I's and lowercase L's, which is also pretty funny. So yeah, boy, don't get scammed out there. That's all I got to say. James says, my one friend has 40K in GME. I'm praying for him. Well, depending on what his base is at, he might be all right. Potentially. And then Mock Chicken says, RGME. Okay, so I have that one up. We'll be able to go through there. And then James says, you're a great guy, Eric. Thanks for the advice the other week. Already adapting to bigger losses now that I sized up my portfolio. I don't know what I told you, but hopefully it was useful. Tanner says, Book of Moass, parts 1 through 3 by Gherkin It. Also, where did the shares go? Okay, cool. So I'll absolutely check those out. Great call out. For show. James says his basis is 20. Yeah, well, I mean, your friend's doing okay then. The main thing is if your friend has more money in GameStop at a basis of 20 that they're uncomfortable with, they can literally flatten whenever they want. That's easy. PFA says Tyson definitely had Moass last night. Tyson did have Moass. He made a ton of money. I'm so stoked for Mike. It's crazy to me that all these people are so pissed off about the Mike Tyson fight. And I just cannot understand what the fucking, what people thought was gonna, I don't understand it. So this is pretty cool. Let's grab this. Because you guys know, I'm a martial artist myself and I'm a fight fan. I love combatives. I like martial arts a lot. And this is hilarious too. This is so good. This is so good. But yeah, I think one of the things that did surprise me, I have to be honest, is that his legs in training looked fine. They didn't look that bad. And for whatever reason, in the actual fight, it looked like he couldn't even really walk, which I couldn't figure that out. Because they're not going through some big dehydration, rehydration thing. I I couldn't identify why that was happening the way that it was. It didn't make sense to me. And obviously training clips are always going to be really carefully selected and whatnot. But it literally looked like he like couldn't walk well, which that part I don't really understand. The other thing that I thought was really interesting is that he just didn't throw much, which why is this Mike Tyson? Fans are saying she stole the show. Oh, I see. What the fuck is this? Mike Tyson to Jake Paul in the third round. Oh, yeah, that's funny as fuck. That's so funny. Yeah, anyways, I didn't think that he looked, I don't think that he looked that bad. I think people had some crazy ass expectations for a dude that's almost 60. But I did expect him to be able to walk a little bit. Like that really did surprise me. The fact that he couldn't really walk well. That kind of sucked. That Lauren says the girl fight was good. Yeah. So that fight, I didn't catch all of it because we went for a walk during it. And it looked like they had a war though from the clips that I saw before we left and whatnot. So yeah, that I'm stoked was a good fight. It looked like the one girl had a cut above the eyebrow, which always sucks. Like getting, I don't know. Getting cuts like that, especially from an accidental headbutt, just sucks because it puts a different tenor and it changes the fight a lot. But I mean, it is what it is, right? It's the fight game. Shit happens. Colin says totally. His legs were throwing me off. What was he doing with the chewing his glove or mouthpiece? It wasn't the mouthpiece. If you watch again, like I'm a bit of a fight dude. So if you watch Mike Tyson's old fights, he has a tick where he bites his glove. But I think he was obviously doing a lot there because he wasn't anywhere near as active as he was in his previous fights. So I think for sure it was just him. At least I didn't see anything. Like there was nothing wrong with the mouthpiece from what I saw. Went in, went out just fine. It was nice and tight as it should have been because his coach had a hard time plucking it out a few times. But yeah, I've seen him do it a bunch throughout his career. It's like this fucking tick he does. I think it was revved up to like 11 though, because he probably felt a bit uncomfortable, right? Like, cause you can see when he tried to bounce around and get his feet under him for whatever reason, like it didn't look comfortable at all, which is again, it's so, I'm really, really confused by it, to be completely honest. Cause like he didn't look bad when he was sparring. And again, I understand that sparring is different than, because they're going to release very carefully curated footage, but still, like to be that different with your legs from sparring to that, I don't know, dog. I thought that was fucking. I thought it was fucking weird. I couldn't piece it together. It looked like something was wrong. But the other thing I have to say to give credit where credit's due, Jake could have fucked him up. Not saying that he could have knocked him out. I don't know about that. But like there was a couple hits where Jake clearly knocked him off balance, and he could have followed up a lot more aggressively, probably knocked him down. I absolutely could have seen that happening. Again, like if you don't have legs, getting knocked down is entirely realistic. And he didn't do that to him, which I actually thought was classy. I thought that was cool. So yeah, overall interesting. The main thing is I'm fucking stoked that he got through it all right, that he's healthy. He looked completely fine. He came in shape. Oh, here's some highlights. Yeah, like his legs just don't look like they're fucking moving, man. And you see how much he's on his heels and flat foot? That part's also really strange. Yeah. Interesting. Mock Chicken says Jake pulled his punches when he gauged Mike where Mike really was. Yeah. Because I mean, the first 2 rounds, Mike did not look bad at all. He really didn't. He was moving okay and he was hitting okay. But like, yeah, just seeing the way that he's responding to these hits, you could tell he's not getting rocked. Like Jake's not rocking him at all, but it's like he can't fucking stand. Like he just couldn't get his feet under him, which was really interesting. So yeah, I'm glad that again, he got through it all right. He looked okay. Because the main thing everybody kept asking me, like for my friends and stuff, because they know I like fighting, and they were like, yo, you know, what do you think about Mike Tyson fighting? And it's like, it's not me to judge, but more importantly than that, I want Mike to do whatever the fuck Mike wants to do. So like if Mike genuinely wanted to do that fight, I'm so stoked for him. If for whatever reason whatsoever he felt pressured to do it, whether it be for money or for something else, then that kind of sucks. But yeah, the you could tell even the way when Mike did connect with Jake compared to when Jake was connecting with Mike was just getting kind of like pushed as a whole unit. But the handful of punches that Mike landed, like you could literally see Jake's head moving, right? There's a difference in power that Jake doesn't have compared even to 58-year-old Mike Tyson. There's a power difference that you can see it. You literally can see it, and a sturdiness difference. So Cedric says he did it for the money. I think he knew he wasn't going to have this. I think so too. I think for sure that obviously if it wasn't like a $20 million fight, I think that changes things. But even then, I don't think Mike needed the $20 million. Who doesn't want $20 million? I'm sure it doesn't hurt. So I actually don't think money was the only motivating factor. My guess is he was looking for just the experience. Like that's the other thing to know about a fighter like him. It's all he knows. He's fought his whole fucking life. And the only time he's been able to get out of the whole fight thing is by heavily drugging himself, right? He's either high as fuck or on a bunch of fucking shrooms to chill the fuck out, which is good. I'm glad he's able to find peace, but that's another way to go through life, right? That's still not going through life sober as you are who you are. It's altering yourself quite a lot. So yeah, to me, I still think he can fight. I don't know what happened with his legs, but I think if they can figure that fucking leg thing out, whatever that was, I think he looked fine. He was moving at the waist well. He can still fucking throw when he wants. But if you think about a big part of his style, it's slipping and moving and countering. But a big part of his counters as a smaller dude is he has to be able to leap forward to throw his punches. He has to. He's not a huge jab dude. He's a hook guy. So without legs to close the gap like that, it doesn't work. And you can tell because anytime Jake started getting near Tyson, Jake just backed out, which is super smart. Because the fact is, again, even 58-year-old Mike, man, if he connects well, like you're fucking sleeping. There are people who have the gift of power and there are people who do not. Jake Paul doesn't really have the gift of power like that. You can tell just by the way he connects with people. Somebody like Francis Ngannou from the UFC does. Alex Pereira from the UFC does. And the way you can tell that power differential from people is when we have somebody that has to catch you perfectly in order to knock you out or TKO you, that's mostly precision, timing, speed applied really well. That's like a Conor McGregor. That's what Conor McGregor has. Precision, timing, speed. He has that stuff down perfectly to connect. But then there are people like, for instance, Ngannou, when he knocked out Alistair Overeem, who's no slouch. Alistair Overeem is a tough motherfucking dude. And I'll show you the punch. He literally connected on like his fucking neck. And he still had more than enough power to put him out. That's the nature of heavyweights. As soon as you're above, 220, you have generally the gift to enough power to put somebody to sleep decisively. I'm really interested to see Stipe versus John Jones. I don't think it bodes well for Stipe because he's been so inactive, but we'll see how that goes. What was it going to look up? Ngannou Overeem. And then we'll get into GME. Yeah, this year. I have to kill the sound, otherwise, you guys know we'll get we'll get like copyright struck. But take a look at this. So I think they do it in slow motion afterwards, but just watch where he connects. Like, again, you can tell the difference between somebody who has power, the gift of power, and somebody who doesn't. So the knockout right there, super fast, can't really tell, but watch when they bring it into slow motion. So watch where Francis's left hand lands. Watch. Objectively, that's not a clean hit. That's not where you want to knock somebody out. Objectively, it's not where you want to knock somebody out. You can see it's hard to tell because his fucking head is experiencing massive whiplash at this precise moment. But you can see he's on the neck and on the inside of the chin. He's here. That's not a knockout punch for somebody that doesn't have the power. That is a massive blow, debilitating, off-centering, stuff like that. But there was so much power generated from this dude because he has that gift that if you watch his head snapping back is what knocked him out. It wasn't this hit up front, which is crazy. Most people know for like knocking people out, the big thing is to cause massive disruption in the brain, right? It's like whiplash. That's what will cause it. So if you take a look at the way his head flows, that's what knocks him out. Because he has the force, head moves back, has to abruptly stop at some point because you run out of literally mobility, and that causes a really fast disruption of your brain. Lights out. Yeah, he's completely asleep there. So that's the fascinating thing. Because again, you can tell, like some people have power that can do that with a really unclean shot because they have so much power. And then other people do not. And I can easily tell you from Mike when he did connect with Jake, because he didn't even throw that hard when he did, he absolutely has that power still. Plus, as you age, that's way slower to go, which is really interesting. So yeah, really, really interesting stuff. All right, so Lauren says brains are important. Yeah, it's something about the brain doing something or other. I feel like a lot of times my brain betrays me, but I guess the brain is supposedly important and does something. I don't know. Supposed to do something, they say. All right, so last time we were going through all this different DD and we got through some of it. Man, we have a lot to go. We have a whole lot to go. So we're going to have to go through these pretty quick. And if there's one of these, though, that we click into, please let me know if it's like a big deal, if it's something that we really need to take some time on. Because what I'm actually going to do is prime up ChatGPT to help us out just for the sake of time. So, but if there's one that you know is like a really good one for whatever reason, again, tell me so that then we can take our time with it. But otherwise, I'm going to kind of poke through these because, again, a lot of this is me building context. That's the whole goal. I think this thing's super cool. All right. So let's see. Okay, this is 842 pages. Oh, fuck. Oh, this is great. So this is a compilation. This is beautiful. This is exactly what we need. Diamond hand logo art. Okay, cool. Oh, this is literally perfect. Hold on. Let me move this out of the way. And then I'm going to move this out of the way as well. And then I'm going to maximize this. Yeah, this is perfect. I'm stoked that this exists. I didn't know that this was a thing. That's fantastic. All right. And then I'll move this over here. Oh, that's good. I like this. Can agree. The GameStop short squeeze crisis solved. Off Putin says, what are the dates on this DD after the Jan squeeze? Where does it, which DD? This one? This one is from 26 May. Does it give us the dates in the beginning? Because that would actually be kind of cool to see some of the dates. It does. Uh, 14 March, 18 March, 31, 6, April, May. So these are not in chronological order. Yeah, it's kind of like shotgun blast order. But most, all I see here after 2021, like after January. Okay. Can you guys read this? I don't know if it's easier if I read it out to you. If I read it, it's going to take me longer. Or I can gloss over it and then highlight stuff that I see. Let me know, because as long as you guys can read it, I'm not going to read the whole thing out loud because it'll slow me down a lot. And then what I'll do is I'll kind of skim through it quickly and find the stuff that sticks out. Core intention of this post: summarize Moass. Not intended to serve as source of proof. There's a massive amount of research in DD that has been performed, documented around this theory can be found here. Okay. So it looks like the same, this all looks like the same stuff. Let's see. All right. Certain participants in the stock market, manipulators, take an advantage loophole, short sell. So I think we all already know this. Naked shorting. I think we all know this. Yep. So they got fucked. I think we know all this. Okay. I think we can skip all this. I think we can skip all this. Oh, let's see. Very different from investors, bit harder to explain. Yep. They are. Yep. Yep. Special rules. Yep. Naked shorting is one of them. Yep. 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 This type of trade illegal outside of specific situations involving market makers due to a loophole, lack of oversight, regulation. Naked short selling can be used to manipulate the price. This is all correct. Synthetic shares. If there's anything in here, again, that you see as I go through it that you're curious about, let me know. Otherwise, again, I'm just going to keep... I've learned to speed read, so I normally blast through stuff pretty fast. But if there's like any of these topics that you see that you're like, yo, I don't know anything about that, can we talk about it? Let me know. Synthetic shares are obviously a really important part of this whole thing. Sean O'Carroll says, House of Cards DD is one you should take your time on. This one is very basic for you. Okay, yeah, let me know whenever I'm assuming it's going to be in here. So can you, with this kind of thing, if I download it, does it go to like a PDF? Because if it does, that would be next level. Let me see real quick. I'm going to put you guys over here for a second so I can move stuff around. Let me download this thing. It is in PDF. Aha. This will be much faster too. Okay. So let me save this. Yeah. Okay, I'm stoked. This is great. All right, let me grab you guys back over to this screen. This one. This is cool. So this looks like I can scroll through it. This will be much, much faster. This is fantastic. As for me, I like the stock. It's so awesome. I think I have fucking sap in my hair. I don't love. Yeah, okay. This is all the basic stuff we're looking at. All right, here we are. Retail market makers, naked shorting, synthetics. Okay. Margin. That Lauren says sap is better than pink eye. Yeah, you know, thankfully I haven't had pink eye since I was like a child because I have a thing called an immune system. But so that in that context, I'm not sure if sap is better because it's like, I don't know how to get fucking sap out of hair though. I have like, I definitely have some of it back here though. There's literally no doubt in my mind, which is unfortunate for me, I believe. Yeah, we don't necessarily love that. Love that for me. Oil? What kind of oil? That would be great. James says, put it in Notebook LM and make it into a podcast. The problem with something like that would still be slower than my ability to read through this. This is just all very basics. They're just talking about margin. Here we go. Let's see. Large short position on a stock whose price rapidly increases. Okay. Yep. 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 So this, I'm actually noticing, is kind of conflating two different terms. Is this alphabetical, these terms? They're not. Damn it. How the fuck wouldn't they be alphabetical? Yo, come on, guys. Yeah, this looks a little bit like they're conflating a couple different things. Well, let's see. What I'm seeing is conflating short squeeze from something like a gamma squeeze, which have different circumstances. And understanding the difference in those circumstances is actually like really, really important. First, let me see. I think I should be. No. I'm trying to sign into the accounts because I have a paid version of this and I want to be able to use the AI tool. Does this work? What the fuck? Included with your account. I think this should be correct. Sign out and then sign in. So I'm hopeful that if this works, then we can have the AI tool help us. Okay. All right. So I think we might be okay. We'll give it a go. 'Cause, 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 Lauren says coconut oil and let it sit for 10 minutes. Yo, 10 minutes? There's no fucking way. To sit there and let coconut oil sit in my hair for 10 minutes, that's like an impossibility, I think. It's a nice idea. I'm sure, like, from a functional standpoint, it absolutely sounds like something that would work. But from a practical standpoint, I think you are grossly overestimating any shred or semblance of patience that I might have, which I really have a disease when it comes to patience. That Lauren says impossible. That's a bit dramatic. No. That is the most accurate description I can think of. That is an impossibility. I don't think it can functionally be done by somebody like me. I just don't see it. Maybe for somebody that's better than I could see, but for somebody like me, there's no way. There's no way. I don't think that that's literally doable. I think that you're asking me to do something that, yeah, that's undoable. There's no way. I don't have that kind of fucking patience. Again, you have to understand, different people, we have like different strengths and different weaknesses. And that is not one of my fucking strengths right there. Patience is a virtue that somehow fucking skipped right over me. And I don't fucking have it. So patience is whatever that is. All right. Cedric says, put the do-rag on in STFU. That's actually probably a good idea, I think, because then I wouldn't be able to touch it. I think that would actually be the big secret. All right, so let's see. I want to know, I've never used the AI tool for this, so I don't know exactly how it works. I wonder if I can ask it to summarize a section. Yeah, this is all basic stuff, so I'm going to just fly through here. Get to the first one. Yep, so this is talking about the mechanics of a short squeeze, which I think everybody here is appraised of. Again, if there's something that you're unfamiliar with, let me know. And then I will slow down and describe it and discuss it with you. Is the squeeze squoze? No. I mean, why would they say no? Is it always no in the when we say is the squeeze squoze, they simply mean it can happen again, yeah? Because one of the realities here is the depth of a future squeeze, it very likely will look a lot different than what this one historically looked like, which I'm not sure if that's being fully accounted for here by people. But again, the answer is up to you. Short sellers likely needed every share to cover the position. Vladimir says they mean it hasn't happened yet. Okay, so that was the following. So I see. Okay, so Lauren says it wasn't a squeeze, it was a sneeze, and Moass is tomorrow. Okay, so then the prevailing hypothesis is that what happened in 21 was a smaller version of what's expected to come. Is that correct? Not a true squeeze until synthetics are forced to cover. Well, is that... I don't understand that definition. Okay, so Jan 21 was a sneeze. And again, just making sure I understand, when we say a sneeze in this context, we just mean it was like a small squeeze, like it wasn't as big as it needed to be. John Carroll says, yeah, basically they believe that short hedge funds figured out a way to hide short positions and swaps and never close. I think that's true. Like, I've seen evidence of that for sure. It would have been a squeeze, but was halted. Okay. Got it. Now, help me reconcile this then. If if the squeeze that happened is considered a sneeze, this sounds like a fucking Dr. Seuss book. If the squeeze is considered a sneeze, I don't know how to keep rhyming that, but if that squeeze was considered a sneeze that was halted, right? There was direct intervention by market forces to stop it. What's the premise then that the next squeeze would actually be a squeeze versus being halted again by market forces? Renegade Trader says wishful thinking. I'm in pressure. But I think I think time and pressure doesn't matter, right? Because if we look at the previous instance, there was obviously enough time and pressure that would have propelled price much higher, but then there was an artificial intervention. So the only way that I could conceivably see an argument being posed by somebody that would be logical would be that they think conditions are different that would lead to markets not intervening. But I don't see why we would think that that would be the case, because we know from the original sneeze that the market was literally concerned like about composite total market viability. So I don't see why anybody would think that we would be less inclined as an institution, again, taking the other side's perspective, less inclined as an institution to stop an occurrence of that again. Like, I don't get that. I'm just getting caught up. Vladimir says, who was buying 480 per share on 27 Jan 21? Crazy. It's crazy. But again, if you're going into this thing not knowing that it's about to be intervened with, a squeeze like that literally can double again. So even for somebody that gets in at 480, that doesn't mean that you can't get out for a fucking 1,000. So the people that would be doing that are the people who are a bit late to the party, but they're doing the trading game of buying high, looking to sell higher. I don't hate them at all. The people that bought at 480, they got fucked because of a rug pull, because the market then decided like, nope, we're not letting this go on anymore. We're done here. And that fucking sucks. WETDC says less needed, more could be. The premise is based on what would happen if halt of the regulatory requirements were enforced against more participants rather than locking retail out. Yeah, no, I get that, but I still, the part that I'm not understanding here is if we're expecting a bigger squeeze in the future and the last squeeze was cut short because of the total impact it might have had on the financial system, why do we think that the future squeeze is going to be bigger than the previous squeeze that was smaller and still cut short? Like, I'm trying to understand that. As you can tell, like my heart's out in the open here. I'm trying to understand, because from like a logical perspective, I just don't understand how that reconciles. Sean says prolonged squeeze like Tesla. That's not a squeeze though. So what Tesla has done is appreciated in value as a company. They've become more valuable. That's completely different than a squeeze. The squeeze may not be bigger, but the run may be longer. I see. Okay. I see. Okay, so then that Cedric says 100% Tesla was a squeeze. What move in Tesla are you guys talking about? I don't know actually what time frame we're referencing. What time frame we're referencing. Tesla had a short interest from 2016 until they ran up. Okay, got it. So we're talking older Tesla. Sorry, I thought you were talking about something more recent. Yeah, well, I also think there's a couple news articles about that, right? Because there was definitely a series of shorts. Musk used to dunk on people about that, which I always thought was entertaining. So you're just talking about like a standard short squeeze though. Like you get, when you're talking about the Tesla in those time frames, we're not talking about this idea of like Moass or anything. Is that correct? I'm trying to understand the context here. Micah says, well, GameStop is in a better position and wider base of investors are choosing to buy. More buying pressure along with short covering could be huge. I see. Okay. So Cedric, you're just saying that, yeah, so that's why I'm confused with the comparison to Tesla. Because Tesla had like very normal short squeezes. They weren't like the movement that you saw in Tesla was like pretty textbook short squeeze, like older school. If we're talking like mid 20s / I think there was also what in 2020, I want to say that there was another instance of a squeeze there as well. So, but Tesla to me would be an example of just like standard squeeze, falls off, rolls up. Cedric says it wasn't Moass because they had time to exit the shorts. Yeah, well, and that's kind of the nature, right, of short squeezes because they happen, and that's why it's called a short squeeze. And again, like a short squeeze is different than a gamma squeeze, which is really important to differentiate between them because a short squeeze still typically reconciles and it's not being fueled inherently by market makers. Sean says, this is the debate, I think. Some people believe in the fairy tales of 1 million per share, but I think most people regularly just think something akin to Tesla. But so then Sean, in that example, then most people, you would, by that position, you would say like most regular people aren't then gunning for Moass. Most people are just gunning for like a future short squeeze reminiscent to what GameStop has already experienced. Is that correct? Impulsive says, seriously, watch the fear in his eyes. Thomas Petterfee said it would Moass. Yeah, definitely. Petterfee talked about the total systemic risk, which was no joke there. Sean says, yes, but it's sustained highs. That's the part I don't understand because by its nature, a squeeze, whether it's a short squeeze or gamma squeeze, is temporary. Squeezes don't persist into perpetuity. It's a functional constraint that exists. Lauren says, can a short squeeze turn into gamma squeeze or vice versa? Definitely. So short squeezes and gamma squeezes absolutely have interplay, no doubt. And the interplay can literally be violent between short squeezes and gamma squeezes. So what 100% can happen. I'm going to stretch this, and then I think I can even zoom in a little bit for us. I see. Okay. So that's like tricky to get my arms around. So let me know if I got this right. There are some people who are searching for Moass, which is like financial system breaking almost level of short, gamma squeeze, whatever, massive price movement. That's one bucket. Then there's another bucket of people who are looking for what we would consider to be like more standard short squeezes. And then there's another bucket of people, and not saying that they're discrete, there might be overlap. And then there's another bucket of people who genuinely like the company long term, the story of the company, the turnaround perspective and stuff like that. And then there's the third bucket there. Is that correct? So there's a bit of a diverse view as to the background here. Okay. Got it. That's super helpful. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to like frame everything in my mind. Chicken Nugget says, we all want Moass, but when you think about reality, you understand that can't happen. I see. Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you. That's super, super helpful. I know sometimes I ask a lot of fucking stupid questions, but I like to understand things at their core. It helps me a lot. One is the squeeze. Nobody knows. Here you go. Why does holding do anything? So here's my next question. With the recent at the market offerings and now an abundance of shares, how does this impact this idea of holding? And then I have a secondary question, which is, if we're holding, where's the exit that isn't stepping on one another to get out the door? Because the only way to realize the money from a squeeze is to sell at some point. And then as that selling starts to occur and cascades into future selling, that pushes price down. Vladimir says DRS works against a short squeeze. You want higher short interest. I don't see that the same. I see your point, but one of the important parts specifically about like a really aggressive short or gamma squeeze is share availability. So if you're making it impossible for people to tap shares to move around, it decreases total liquidity. Sean says, I think some people hold this stock as a form of protest almost. Yeah. I mean, I've already told you guys, the shares that I hold is literally just it's literally just to support the ape movement. Like I just want to show the apes some love because I think what they're doing is really interesting. Yolo Rolo says DRS takes shares off exchange so they can't short though. Yeah. If you're not synthetic shorting, right? If you're synthetic shorting, then you're still shorting. But more importantly than that, it requires less short interest to have the same short interest ratio because there's less availability. Again, there's a relationship there. So let me simplify my first question. For the ape community, is holding right now as it sits today like a cornerstone element of the strategy? Like, is that still a really important part of the ape movement where people are buying and DRSing shares? Is that still at the same magnitude? Yes. Okay, got it. So that's still a big push. What do we know what percent of the float is currently locked up? And then I got to go grab another mango orange. I'll be right back. Right. Yo, there's 116 people in here. Shout out to you guys. Thanks for helping me learn about this, by the way. I genuinely am appreciative. Okay, so it looks like 25% you guys are saying is DRS. So of the 25% then that's DRS, is there like a target percentage that is been identified as like a critical point? What does this thing do? Edit PDF, copy, redact, strike through, underline, highlight. 100%. 100% would be no good. I don't think that would be good at all. Why would you guys want 100%? Wait, so you guys are saying it was 100% that was... Yo, I'm fucking confused. There's a lot of different stuff flying around. So Impulsive is saying purpose of DRS was to prove synthetic shares, which that I think it did. And then we're saying that it's to lock the float. Off Putin's talking about Cohen's legacy, which that's interesting because I have no idea how anybody has any idea what anybody's legacy is preferred or expected. Lock the float. Okay. Interesting. Super, super interesting. Are you guys manipulating the market? Yes. By doing this, it is manipulating the market. There's a lot of misinformation flying around. No, we are not. What the fuck do you mean you're not? What? This subber is in no way a form of market. What? We aren't the ones manipulating the market? How is this the perspective? Jotata says apes aren't manipulating the market, but how? If the idea is to lock up all the DRS or lock up all the float and control the float in an effort to force or drive a squeeze, is that not manipulating the market? I see. So this... I see. So you guys, based on what I'm seeing, people are leaning on the fact that there's not a directive. Okay, so this looks like people know they are, but they're trying to find like a way to be able to deny allegations as they should. Cedric says, can a hive mind manipulate the market? Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. 100%. You don't even need a hive mind. If you're trading something that's low enough float, you can have a few friends do it. I see. So you guys are... I see. Okay. So this makes way more sense. I think it looks like people are looking at this in a negative connotation of manipulating the market as a negative connotation, which I understand now. Cedric says you ain't going to lock up millions of apes. It's not about that. Like, it's not about that at all. Like, you can try to find the worst offenders, so to speak, and go after them if they were so inclined. Sean says market manipulation is illegal. Yes. Well, let's actually look up the definition. I'm curious. Research the definition of market manipulation, because I'm looking at market manipulation in the not in a legal sense here. I'm looking at it in a practical sense, right? Like the idea of trying to cause a squeeze is manipulating the market from, again, like a practical sense, because it's creating conditions that are favorable for a otherwise generally unnatural market movement to occur. So it's manufactured, that kind of thing. The way that I'm laying that out is not in any way trying to paint it as a bad context. I don't think that's bad. I actually think it's fucking smart. It's other people manipulate, like institutions manipulate. Everybody manipulate the market as much as they possibly can. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think from a technical perspective, it's exactly what it is. Now, I understand from the legal perspective, though, this makes a lot of sense. So I'm trying to look up the actual SEC definitions of market manipulation so that I understand this. When someone artificially affects supply and demand for security. Artificially. What does this mean? This is not that. That doesn't apply. That doesn't apply. That doesn't apply. So based on investor.gov, their context for market manipulation, none of this applies. Yeah, this doesn't look like it applies at all. So let me look up one other thing really quick. Research cases of market manipulation. I want to research tried cases. I want to look at trials specifically. Because this looks like they generally are targeting like not retail at all. This looks like it's really, let's actually search for that. Here we go. Here. So Archegos, we know that. We know that Citron got fucked, thankfully. Good. 2 former traders at JP Morgan were convicted of engaging multi-year market manipulation scheme. Okay. Yep. So they were spoofing and stuff. Yep. So that's still at an institutional level. So these dudes. Yep. So this absolutely looks like standard. Yeah. So like, I think from like a fundamental perspective, what apes are trying to do is manipulate the price. But I think from a legal definition, nothing in here looks like it even remotely applies to the ape movement. So this, I understand much more, I think, now. Potato says things been real quiet about left super sus. Well, I think it's because his trial was moved out by a year and he naturally isn't going to talk about it because it literally is just detrimental for him to talk about it. It raises his risk considerably. So if for somebody that's going through litigation, they're just going to shut the fuck up, as they should if they're smart. And he probably has decent legal counsel. Cedric says, and why Roaring Kitty is not manipulating because he never said to buy anything. Well, not just that, but Roaring Kitty doesn't say shit other than his fucking opinion or what he's doing. I don't think that's manipulating at all. I think, again, there's, from a functional perspective, a reality behind he has to know when he tweets things about GameStop or when he posts about GameStop, GameStop goes up. He has to know that. But I don't think that means he's manipulating things. He absolutely can cause GameStop to move. But Sean says, but the media were talking about him and E-Trade threatened to kick him off. E-Trade discussed it, but I don't think they made any threats to kick him off. I think they discussed it. And I don't think that they were kicking him off under the premise of under the premise of him manipulating the stock. I think that they probably, for a litany of different reasons, just thought there was more risk in having him as a client. So yeah. Impulsive says sometimes he posts random shit and GameStop goes up. What is he supposed to do? Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? Is like him as a personality, he's been really tightly associated with the ticker. So yeah. Sean says there's CNBC having debates in May about him manipulating the market. Wait, really? I have to look at, I did not know that. I have to look at that. That's crazy. Oh. What do we do? CNBC. What would the, do you know what I should search for? What the CNBC roaring kitty market manipulation. All right. So you already know we have to do it through closed captions. We found our loophole. All right, let's see. So this looks good so far. I just need to speed it up because it's moving at like a glacial pace. Didn't seem to be anything that would be big red flag for regulators. There's going to be a massive wall of text that's going to pop up. She's saying a lot of words and nothing is popping up. Many experience in not telling people what to do, discussing his personal opinion, doesn't give regulators wiggle room to label him as a, yeah, that's exactly correct. So this looks fine. This doesn't look like they're debating that he is. Full Sends, dude, you need to watch his last stream when he returned and had like 600 people watching him. Oh, we watched that a bunch of times. I'm not sure if you're new to the series here, Full Send, but yeah, we spent a while looking at that stream because it's hilarious. Certainly seemed to lay it out. Shows he was holding. Shows you quite a lot of ground when the stock went down too. If anything, what he's doing is now setting up the perfect defense for market manipulation, giving regulators everything he would use in his defense if they brought up a market manipulation. Ultimately, they're trying to do, I think, ban him. A very high bar to reach. Ban him from ever being able to trade again. I think so. That would be the only outcome if you were charged with market manipulation, seeking a lifetime ban. Try to get him out of the market completely. You see what E-Trade is doing. They're unhappy, however, are getting the best press they've ever gotten there. Their information is also a single thing he posts. So they should be happy right now, in a good position as well. Free advertising. Yep. Yeah, this looks okay. Still a lot of active retail trading. Wall Street people always said they want people involved in trading. What do you think of the brand retail trading? Fantastic. The first time individual investors are out there in front, learning from people. Meme stocks could be an SEC rule on meme stocks. Don't like that. Retail traders or investors are finally getting in the market, understanding what's going on. Opinion trading their own money. Great for the market. Wall Street wants retail doing it now. Wall Street's having fun too. This looks okay so far. This is saying you don't want a bag. You don't want retail holding the bag. Wall Street was rigged for years and years. Retail investors could never. True. With these types of meme stocks, Gill particularly, everything is public, right? Perfect. Something else just crashed on my other screen. We're seeing retail investors act very differently from how they did back in 21. Seem very reacted to the positions he's showing and holding and affirming he's holding. What's the market supposed to do? How much of it, though, is different from what day traders were back in the late 90s, early 2000s. It's one thing to be an investor, another to be a trader. So far, this looks fine. Yeah, so you're saying that regulators are looking at Keith Gill and trying to find a rule that doesn't exist to control the market. Yeah, that looks okay. Sean says the point is, why is it even a discussion? It's a fair discussion. I think it's a completely fair discussion. Because again, like, even though Keith isn't telling anybody directly to do anything, there is a known, it's kind of like if I'm driving a car and I hit somebody and they die. Hopefully it doesn't happen. But in that scenario, I could just say, well, I didn't know that they were going to die when I hit them. Maybe I hit them going really slow, but maybe when they fall, they hit their head and then die. The point I'm making, and this is a very loose example to draw the correlation though, is that there's a reality that when Roaring Kitty posts, we can generally assume GameStop's going to go up. Generally assume. Now, I think what is clear from his perspective though, is it's not like he's unwinding every time the move happens. So as long as like he's still shooting it straight, keeping it real, then I see absolutely nothing wrong with what he's doing at all. Ben says, if you were him, would you retire the Twitter handles and other social media stuff? No, fuck no. I absolutely would not. Because again, I don't think he's doing anything wrong. I think that the one thing I would continue to do is like, here's another reality. When he disappears for prolonged periods and then pops back up randomly, that sends GameStop reeling. If he was even remotely consistent with his posting, then the market would essentially have no effect. There would be realistically no effect, because a lot of times when he bounces and then comes back, people then go into a fervor about it. So yeah, I don't think he should retire anything. I don't think he's doing anything illegal at all. Like I said, I'm not saying that I'm just saying that the conversation is reasonable. I'm not saying I don't agree with it whatsoever. I think that there's absolutely, rightfully so, there's no grounds at all to accuse him of anything, which is exactly why they haven't, right? There's a reason why they've tried to investigate him. And I know that he was investigated in a state, but again, investigation is different than being tried or accused. Those are slightly different things. So yeah, I don't think he's doing anything wrong whatsoever. I think he's literally just a dude talking about a stock that he's liked for a really long fucking time and sharing what he's doing. I don't see anything wrong with that at all. Sean says, fair enough. His old employer got fined for his behavior. Yeah, definitely. And again, like, he broke the rules. When he was actively trading at that point, he broke the terms of what his company allowed him to do. So like in that circumstance, Keith was wrong. His company was wrong. The reason why they were fined is because they should have found it and stopped him. They also found that there's other people doing similar shit, other people operating without the licensure that they needed and stuff like that. So like their internal regulations just sucked. But like in that circumstance, Keith was wrong. He broke the rules laid out by his company. His company ended up paying the price for it, which is fuck him. I don't care. But that's absolutely fair. WATDC, the terms he broke were that he was teaching regular people what he knew. That's not it. Again, you guys already know, like, my goal in all of this is objective truth. It's not opinion. It's not skew. And the terms he broke absolutely were not teaching people what he knew. The terms he broke were violating what securities he was allowed to transact in. Most people, like when I worked at Deloitte, there's different rules that are applied to you when you're in different kinds of businesses. So absolutely. So if we look at Keith Gill, where did he work? It was like something American. I can't remember. You guys will know. I don't remember it at all. What's the name of the place that he worked at though? Mass Mutual. Is that right? I thought I had like American in it for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just fucking patriotic as shit. That could be it. Mass Mutual. Okay, cool. So let me look that up. In the meantime, I got to get my dinner order off. We're going to do Italian. Okay, so Keith Gill, Mass Mutual. I'm just going to put like violation. Here we go. And I remember this is from like Reuters. And then we found this one as well. Because we've looked at these before. Settlements conduct who's relentless cheering for GameStop, heart of a meme stock mania. State officials who resigned in January failed to adequately supervise his and other agents' trading and online activity. So this is the rule that he broke. He would have had an employer's agreement with Mass Mutual where Mass Mutual would have told him you cannot do X, Y, Z in terms of securities. This is why for people that work at ETF funds, I have a friend of mine. I was actually talking with them about maybe trying to work with them because I think it would be really cool to learn more about that business. And anyways, one of the things he told me is like, well, if you work here, you can't trade. And I was just like, fuck that. Sounds great. Cool place, cool people, but fuck that. So like that, it's very common in any sort of financial industry for that to be a constraint, and it's for conflicts of interest. So anyways, going back to the original question from Sean, which is what was it? This is what it was. He violated the employment agreement with Mass Mutual. He was trading things that he shouldn't have been trading, and Mass Mutual should have caught it earlier and stopped it, but they didn't. So that's why Mass Mutual got fucked. So yeah. WATDC, sorry, I phrased it wrong because regular people were able to follow him. It got noticed. No, it's because it just got big. It didn't have anything to do with other people's involvement. It's because he literally became a fucking celebrity. So it's like the reason why they like, I wouldn't even be surprised if they knew and they didn't really care. But it got so big that they were made to care because everybody knew about Keith Gill and Roaring Kitty. He literally became a celebrity. He became like in your face. So then everybody was just like, oh, who's this guy? What's his background? What does he do? And that's exactly how it got funneled back to him. It had everything to do with just him literally becoming a celebrity. And he had compliance constraints from his job that he violated. Like it had nothing to do with other people following him. It had everything to do with his popularity, which is, again, it's very cool. It's like really neat earned popularity. But Sean says, why wasn't he liable? That's kind of the cool part, is because it's a corporate policy. So his job could have chosen to try to pursue him, but they found it easier not, and they just accepted their fault because, again, it's also not Keith's fault that Mass Mutual wasn't doing their fucking job. Mass Mutual should have absolutely had systems in place to check and to stop that kind of behavior. So Mass Mutual was at fault for the behavior, and as you could tell, it wasn't just him. There was other people that were involved. I'm trying to see. Oh, was it on this one? This. That it failed to supervise its agents among the social media, right? So there's other people that are involved in that process. So the employment agreement between he and Mass obviously would have been terminated. I don't know if he got fired or if he left. But yeah, my guess is one of those would have occurred there. So that's his quote unquote punishment from his job. And then Mass Mutual, because they weren't compliant in their monitoring of compliance, they're also a problem. So yeah. WATDC says he became a celebrity and the average person was learning to trade. We're saying the same thing. Yeah. We're saying the exact same thing there. But again, the thing that you say in the beginning is different, right? You're saying the terms he broke were that he was teaching regular people what he knew. That's not the terms he broke. There's nothing in here that says Keith Gill can't teach other people what he knows. There's nothing in here that says Keith Gill can't start a YouTube channel and teach people about trading. He can do both of those things completely fine. The terms he broke were him trading. Then his rise into popularity is what got that noticed. But it's not his rise in popularity either. That's not a term that he broke. So yeah, they're different things. WATDC says, you're right. I made that statement in frustration. And I totally understand that. I totally understand that. That's why I take the time to talk about these things, though, because I know that a lot of people in the GME community are like just really burnt out, tired, frustrated, and stuff like that, which I understand. I really do understand. But yeah, again, like my position on most things is to do my absolute best at analyzing things objectively. I can have, and I do have, opinions, but the opinion is in a separate bucket than the analysis. The analysis is what it is. And remaining as objective as humanly possible, I think, is super important. We're all riddled with bias, but it's easy. So this is super interesting, though. All right, so we got through the market manipulation component. And there's this. All right. So I think we can get through this. How are these crazy high share prices that people say possible? This is cool. No one knows how high the squeeze could take the stock price. The best rational reasoning says that these numbers are possible through the laws of supply and demand. Furthermore, it's likely that a short percentage is a lot higher than reported. See, this is interesting. This is interesting because this is an incomplete analysis, right? Realistically speaking. The reason why it's an incomplete analysis is because they're talking about the underlying function that could lead to it, which is completely fair. But this is like a theoretical perspective. It's not a practical perspective. And the reason why that matters, again, is the impact to the broad market still has to be considered, which is, essentially exactly what happened. So then what is a short squeeze? We know this. Oh, let's see. Basically, a bunch of institutions think a stock will fail, pile in. More often than not, they do not. Make a lot of money. Go unnoticed. Short squeeze can occur. Yep, that's all fine. More than 100. We know that because that's straight fucking trash. Buy GameStop. Here we go. Short squeeze can happen anywhere there is short interest. GameStop, however, is a special case. Short sellers got extra greedy. They were sure that GameStop was going to die. So sure, in fact, they began selling naked short the stock like crazy. The other thing to know about this kind of thing is part of seller boxing, which I don't necessarily think is fully what got into place here. I think they were probably going down that path. But the really interesting thing here from my perspective is that there's a massive tax benefit. So if I'm shorting something that ends up going bankrupt, I literally get a tax benefit on the position as it's closed, which is huge. When you're talking in the millions and millions of dollars, the tax benefit itself can save you quite literally millions of fucking dollars. So this is incredible to me. And this is a really great point for them to call out. Naked shorting, I think we already know what they is. Who's Ryan Cohen? Yep. Chairman of GameStop. I think we know. Clearly believes in GameStop to the point. Well, the other thing to know about Ryan Cohen, from what I've seen, is that he absolutely is a bit of an activist investor, right? He's talked about this before, and from what I've researched, he has a penchant for looking for stuff like this and trying to intervene. So I also think that he just embodies the approach of an activist investor, not quite a Bill Ackman because Bill Ackman and Warren Buffett have a slightly different approach, I think, but very similar in terms of like what this is. So yeah, I think this is also really cool. Catalyst. Yep. Oh, here we go. And why do people keep calling me that? What is a shill? And why do people keep calling me that? Here we go. One of the many things that hedge funds have tried to do to curb stomp retail investors is flooding our public communities with Reddit accounts, purposely spreading some negative sentiment. Now, okay, that's what I was going to ask the proof. These accounts have been seen all over, not just Reddit, but also YouTube, Twitter, not just conventional social media. Anywhere you could talk about GME, the term shill is a blanket term for those accounts, them, bots, or people. Do we have evidence of this? Like, is there a thing that links to like negative comment and perceived bot account? I'm super, super interested in that. Because this, I fully agree. And I think that this is absolutely also, because if you think of it from a hedge fund's perspective, if a hedge fund or some sort of institution has tons of money that's being threatened because people are starting to pool together and you want to try to disrupt that, then you can pay people cheap to go on and start posting all sorts of shit. So I absolutely would believe that they would do this. No doubt. So I'm just curious if there's like a library of like actual accounts where it's like somebody says some reckless shit and it's like an account that's brand new and the only thing they have in their profile is like 2 shitty comments towards GameStop or something like that. Because to me, that would be clear as day, right? If you have accounts that are like that. Sean says thousands of accounts signing on simultaneously. Yeah, like, right. Like that's clearly like a fucking farm. So yeah, I'm just curious. Cedric says, send a link for Reddit. Let's take a look. Where'd you send it? I do not see it. Oh, you can't. I don't see the link in the chat. The chat scrubs links for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's super annoying. But WATDC says we started doing that, but it also per to doxing of real people and causing them harm. I see. Yeah, that sucks. That sucks. Yeah. All right. So shills have utilized different approaches. FUD. Yep. Please, unless you really are a shill, don't take it personally. So this is good to know too, because they're identifying that there's a lot of people getting caught with strays. Short and distort time. Yep. Shill-based FUD and how to spot it. Here we go. Note your potential bias. That's great. Not all FUD is invalid. Some bring up a solid point against otherwise great DD. That could scare you. This is great too. Remember, just because you don't like what someone is saying doesn't make it invalid. That's massive. I love that. I actually don't think that most people do that based on what I've seen, but I love that as a guiding force. That's huge. Shooting this person down as a shill, ask yourself the following. Are they making a valid point? Is it backed up with evidence? Have I fact-checked this evidence? Those are great questions too. This is great. I love this. That's really, really good. WATDC says shill isn't used correctly anymore. It gets applied when people disagree. Yeah, that's, I kind of guess that. All right. Here we go. How do I as a retail stand a chance against hedge funds? Here we go. Back up in terms of shares held, all short floats numbering around. One of the things to note, by the way, is that your job as a retail trader is not to stand against a hedge fund. There's no reason for that to be the case. You don't have to. I see. So this is the sensitivity to we or us. Again, separating manipulation from the technical aspects from the legal aspects. I understand that now. Hedge funds and terms. This is cool. Wow. That was that was really enlightening for me. A lot of interesting things, and thank you guys for a lot of the information. Being able to query and understand some of the broader context is really, really helpful. It's possible we're living in a completely fraudulent system. That's funny. Citadel has no close, has been fined 58 times for violating stuff. Several instances documented as willful naked shorting. This we know. I don't think we need to read this one through. Oh, okay. So this is a great DD. Got it. Okay, never mind. So we will read this one all the way through. This looked to me to be pretty well known. All right. Fuck. Did it not? Oh, I was going to say that's going to piss me off. Summarize the highlighted section. Sure, take all my fucking data, I'm sure. Oh, you bastard. Let me just go to fucking ChatGPT. Summarize all key points. I'm going to drop it into Perplexity as well, just to see what Perplexity comes up with. All right. So key points summary here. I'll pull it over here for you guys. Key points summary, Citadel fined a bunch of times. I think we know. Increase in short positions. Yup. Trading practices and data. Yup. Fair accounting. Yeah, so this is just saying that Citadel does exactly what you would expect Citadel to do, which is fucking straight bullshit. Also, fun fact, the summary that ChatGPT gave me is light years better than what Perplexity gave me. Perplexity is just kind of like good for searching for stuff. It's not really good for stuff like this, I've learned. All right, so that's the overview. We can kill AI assistant because clearly it's not going to help us. And then let me zoom this in just a little bit more for you guys. All right. And then I'm told sold, not yet purchased. Sold, not yet. Yo, Adobe, get your shit together. What the fuck? Impulsive, do you know where it is? Because apparently I can't fucking search for the terms. It says it's not in here. That's so annoying. Unless you're giving me bad scoop and it's not called that, then it's not annoying and you're annoying because you're fucking sending me down a goat rope for some shit that's not there. If that's not the case, first 3 images. Okay, got it. So it's near the top. First 3 images. Here's the first image. Okay, security sold, not yet purchased at fair value. Yep, okay. Proving the shorts are merely future buyers. Yeah. I think we know this though. Yeah, I don't know. This I think is known that this is also building. Yeah, this is exactly what I would expect to see. Yep. This all makes sense. Okay, cool. Does this thing have a... All right, let's get back through here. As an industry, we have a responsibility to manage risk in a way that's prudent. I mean, it's objectively a fair thing to say. All right. BlackRock bag hold. BlackRock is operating in a shadow market with Citadel and Bridgewater. Whoa, Bridgewater's this? Wait, is Bridgewater affiliated with this? There are three contributing to the greatest market manipulation of all time. Head of the snake Citadel is beginning to flail. I believe Citadel shorted the majority of BlackRock's GME portfolio in addition to other highly shorted stocks, leaving BlackRock to hold the bag. What does that mean, though? All right, let's see what ChatGPT says. I think it's this one. Summarize this. All right. Citadel is believed to have shorted the majority of or all of BlackRock's GME shares. What's the relationship there specifically? How is it known that Citadel shorted BlackRock's shares? Is inferred through circumstantial evidence. I see. Asset managers like BlackRock commonly lend this. Oh, I see. So just based on lending practices. Okay, that makes sense. Yep. Points to a potential rigging market through strategic trading practices. Okay. Primarily an asset manager, relies on Citadel's market making. Yep. The investigation outlines a network of influential firms operating in a way that could potentially manipulate the market for significant gain. Yeah, I think that's still fair. The main thing is that they just run the risk of being caught to different degrees. And even if they're caught to varying degrees, I don't even think they fucking care, because the fines are in no way relatable to the overall issue. So yeah. Yeah, okay. That one makes sense. Citadel and friends have shorted the treasury bond market to oblivion using the repo market. Citadel owns a company called Palafox Trading and uses them to short and trade treasury securities. The exclusively part here is a little interesting because it's very common for companies like this to specialize. So I don't know if this seems like they think it's a bigger deal than it probably is. Palafox managers, one fund for Citadel. Yeah. Are owned by offshore investors in the Cayman Islands. That also is just a tax and security shelter, so that makes sense. Their reverse repo agreements are entirely rehypothecated, and then they cannot pay off their own repo agreements until someone pays them first. Oh, interesting. This is interesting. All right, let's see what this is. The only issue I see with this is like the bond market is one of the biggest, most liquid markets on the world, like literally in the world. So I do struggle a little bit with the theory that they're using either SOFR or the bond market as a relationship. Summarize. Because even somebody that's at a place like um, like BlackRock or Citadel. They're massive. They have massive influence, but they still are not like able to fully control something like the bond market. Linzo says, I don't know if you went over to this. The point of DRSing the shares is to get a total count of shares owned by retail. This way we could say we own the whole float. So where are they getting the shares to short? I see. I mean, I don't see how that's possible. Simply because institutions are still going to own some of them anyways. But anyways, okay. Citadel through its subsidiary gauges. Yet we just read that. The global fix. Yep. Okay. Repo market dynamics. Repo and reverse repo essential for liquidity. Yes. Relies on rehypothecation where collateral is reused for multiple transactions. Yep. It cannot settle repo agreements without incoming payments. Okay. Palafox acts as Citadel's market maker for repos, supporting their massive short position. Doing reliance on rehypothecated assets to cover obligations. Instances where repo rates dipped below -3 suggests this extreme desperation for treasury bonds akin to short squeezes in the stock market. I don't think this makes sense. Yeah, I don't really think this makes sense. FICC holds 47 billion in deposits for unsettled treasury transactions. Sign of systemic strain. Citadel's high exposure to derivatives, lack of long positions. Dependence on borrowed assets set up potential risks. That's fair. I mean, they will have so many circuit breakers and hedges in place. But yeah. Yeah, the reason why this doesn't make sense is just because you're not going to see a squeeze in the bond market. Same thing with the repo market. It's too liquid. It's literally, I think it literally might be the most liquid market in the world. Let's see. Oh, that one says, yeah, let's bully ChatGPT. Wait, what am I supposed to ask it? Oh, for a fact check. Yeah. Can you fact check these? Can you fact check each of these? Let's see. Yep, so this is just saying that this is normal stuff. Yep, so it talks about the function of that. Yes. This. Yep. Hedge funds may take short positions in T-bonds based on expectations of interest rates. However, the claim that hedge funds have shorted the treasury bond market to oblivion is an exaggeration, definitely. While short positions exist, they are part of diverse trading. Yeah, I agree with this. I think, again, like to be in a position to even try to do that is really, really extreme. Yeah, okay. So that, I think that checks out. And then I want to ask it one more. Summarize the key takeaways from the post. I wonder if there's anything forward looking. Lino says this would expose all the synthetics, and to cover synthetic shares, you need to buy real shares, and that would drive price up if no one sells. Supply and demand, price goes up until they sell. Well, price doesn't go up in supply and demand until they sell inherently, right? You need more people buying, because if you have a system where there's nobody buying, then price doesn't move. It's impossible for price to be bid up if nobody is buying it. So there needs to be an element of liquidity. Otherwise, there's no transaction. So, yeah. But hold on. The rest of you said they loan the same shares over and over again, multiply hundreds of millions synthetics into billions of shares out in the wild. Yeah, definitely. And they abuse that system. No debate there at all. Yo Rolo says, but then margin calls. Wait, margin calls for what? I don't know where. Impulsive says margin calls cause forced buy-ins for what? You're talking about the scenario of the synthetic shorts and then the covering? Just so I know if I'm looking at the right thing. Yeah. So I was just, again, very specific points that I make when I look at this stuff. The point that I'm making is that if all shares are DRS'd, 100% of the float is locked up, and then we've identified all of these naked shorts, but nobody is selling. If nobody is selling their shares, right, because they're all locked up, there are no shares for anybody to buy. If there's nobody buying anything, price doesn't go up. People have to buy in order to bid price up. So I'm just saying that would come at there's an impasse in that scenario. Yo Rolo says, what if there's one share? So it's a great example. So Impulsive says, but one share can sell at 1 million and the price is 1 million. It potentially, right? But in the theoretical doesn't work in a practical sense. I'll start it with that. So acknowledging that we're talking about a theoretical that wouldn't play out in a practical sense, that one share would be bought at the first available price. So a seller could say, I'm willing to sell this one share for $1 million. If there's only one share available and there's no more shares on the order book, then there's still no liquidity. That one share isn't going to offset anybody's position. So again, from a practical sense in the hypothetical scenario, that one share would do nothing for them. It doesn't matter. You need liquidity. Otherwise, there's literally no reason for the transactions. So yeah. All right, so back to this. Walking like a duck, talking like a duck. I like the name of this one. I have prepared a case which strongly indicates that Citadel Securities are committing securities fraud. Okay. I don't really feel I don't think that this is a massive one for us to read unless you guys do, because like there's nothing in here that I would openly debate. I am sure that different kinds of institutions like that are committing securities fraud, and I don't think that it actually impacts that much. So yeah. The reason why I say it doesn't impact much is just because until there's enforcement, it doesn't really move the needle. Okay, I think this is one of the ones that you guys said that we had to read, right? A House of Cards. Am I remembering correctly? I think you guys were saying that this was a big one. The DTC has been taken over by big money. They transitioned from a manual to computerized ledger, 80s, and it played a significant role in 87 crash. In 03, several issuers with DTC wanted to remove their securities from DTC's deposit because the DTC participants were naked short selling their securities. Turns out they were right. Okay. The DTC and its participants have created a market-sized naked short selling scheme. Okay, this is very interesting. So I'm going to drop this in first. We'll read through this one specifically, but I just want to drop it in for a summary to start. Right. Let's grab GPT, summarize. WETDC says, I don't think 100% DRS will ever happen. I mean, again, I don't like speaking in absolutes. So could it theoretically occur? It could. Is it in any sense of probability going to occur? No. The reason why the answer is exceedingly unlikely is because there are institutions that already have the shares. So as long as those institutions maintain the shares, then there's no way to achieve 100% DRS. So it would require institutions choosing to unwind their shares for whatever reason, and I'm sure some of them would over time. But it's like you can't buy something that somebody isn't selling. Impulsive says only need to DRS float, not outstanding. Okay, because again, that's different. And I agree with you. I think looking at something like float outstanding is a different scenario. And I think focusing on that is absolutely achievable in a theoretical and a practical sense. Difficult to do, but achievable. But yeah, I was just responding to the comment of like 100% DRS. Okay. So we know this stuff from DTC have been accused of facilitating large scale naked short selling where the shares are sold without being borrowed or delivered. Highlighted in 03 when multiple issuers sought to withdraw their securities from the DTC, suspecting the participants were naked shorting their stocks. Seed & Co., a DTC enrollee, holds the master certificate of shares. When shares are deposited, they issue IOUs instead of moving the actual certificates, centralizing control and potentially enabling the re-hypothecation of shares for future transactions. Okay. 03, issuers petitioned DTC to allow them to withdraw their securities due to concerns over participants shorting the stocks, which could harm the value. All right. DTC proposed SR that rule effectively blocked issuers from retrieving their securities, leading to widespread concern. Okay. Historical records and FINRA reports indicate consistent violations by DTC participants, such as failing to report short sale transactions accurately over reporting short interest. Okay. DTC structures allows participants, primarily large institutions, significant control over deposited securities, potentially enabling market manipulation. Agreed. Yeah, so this is obviously highlighting the Seed & Co.'s really lack of transparency in their approach in the fucking IOU system. So fact check all sections. Yeah, that's madness. Fact. Yep. Documented cases of short sale violations involving major institutions. Yes. Yeah, okay. Interesting. All right, so let's scan through this now. This is the cool shit to me. The fact that fucking retail traders have taken the time to sit down and get into this stuff is fucking fascinating. I have to scan through kind of quick though, because my dinner's getting here right now. Yep, so we already went through all this stuff. Many analysts blame the use of computer trading, large institutions, yes. Yeah. So this is just talking about the impact of computerized trading and algorithms. Yeah. Computers dictated more and more features be sold. Buyers, those features insist sharply lower prices. Oh, interesting. Risk appetite. Yep. Yep. So they wanted to pull their shares out, which we know. Bigger deal when word got around that the proposed rule changed. Interesting. Recently, a number of issuer securities have independently requested that DTC withdraw from the depository securities by them. As explained in further detail by many of the commenters opposing DTC's proposal, the issuers have made these requirements allege that their securities have been target of manipulative short sellers. That's nuts. Dear Senator Lieberman, my firm represents FST, shares traded on the NASD OTC bulletin board. We're writing to enlist your support of our request to the SEC to conduct an investigation into negative short selling of shares of small cap companies on the OTCBB. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. The rule should not be passed because by permitting the settlement of so-called shares by traders not holding share certificates, DTC itself to be incompetent to uphold the law and stop. That's awesome. So there's a lot of people coming out unhappy with them. That's rad. Ultimately migrate to T+1. All that stuff's already updated. So, I mean, this obviously highlights a massive loss in trust of DTC. Like that's like just massively impacted here. And this also really launched a lot of the conversation around naked shorting, which is huge. Like absolutely critical. This is awesome. House of Cards Part 2. I need to bookmark this one. The fuck do I bookmark? Right click. Nope, don't want to crop. Nope. I just want a bookmark. How do you bookmark? Damn. God damn. Well, anyways, I will fucking figure out how to bookmark this thing. There it is. Oh, I see. So it's already flagged. I see. Yeah, so let me highlight this. And we'll pick up from here. Super interesting. All right, gang. I'm gonna go eat some dinner. Super awesome hanging out. Tomorrow I'll probably do a live stream before I do the Outlier Pro live stream later in the day. I'll kind of set up a time for all that. And then, yeah, if you guys need anything, hit me up in the Discord. Be an outlier, be an ape, be an outlier ape, whatever applies to you. And I'll catch you guys later.